All right. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today, Sean. I'm Heather Callier, for those of you watching, and from Ascend Consulting, and I work with Good in the Hood in a variety of different ways. And today we're talking about what Good in the Hood is, who it serves, and the critical services that are being provided in the community. So please introduce yourself.
Well, great to see you always, Heather, and thank you so much. You're a dear friend and someone who works with our organization to help us to do what we do. I'm Sean Morrison, the executive director, the founder of Good in the Hood, and it's good to be with you all. And Good in the Hood, what we are, is a group that inspires intentional kindness. We like to say we influence, we inspire, we impact individuals, families, entire communities for good. And we use three primary ways to do that. We love to say the three Ps. I'm kind of a slogan guy, so everything starts with the same first letter. But we love to be able to bring provision or practical resources to people in need. And so we mobilize a lot of things like food and shoes and holiday things and so forth. But we also love participation. That's where we invite volunteers to get on board, but also the recipients of our services, that they can join us. So we're not just doing for people, we're doing really with people in need. And that's a wonderful win. We love that, where it's a community serving a community. And finally, and not any least significant, is we need and value partnerships. That's businesses, churches, institutions, and civic organizations, schools that get around what we're trying to do. They join us, they share in our heart and our perspective, and we work together to try to do the most good.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. So can you tell us a little bit about what kinds of programs and services does Good in the Hood provide?
Yeah, well, probably the one that we started with really was about food. So we love to bring food, and that's mostly groceries, though we do some hot meals too. But we try to mobilize a lot of groceries to people in need, over 1 million pounds last year. And so we're hoping and believing we'll exceed that this year. That's both a good and a bad thing. It's good that we're able to do that, but of course that does indicate there's a lot of need, and we want to do something about that. That's those people who are struggling with food insecurity, and it's a sad thing, and we want to try to do something about that. We also have a really cool program called Shoo Away Hunger, and that's where we take shoes, those that are gently used, new or gently used shoes or boots, and we put those on a bus that we've turned into a mobile store with the help of Schuler Shoes, and a great partner of ours. And we bring those to the community of those in need. That would be schools, shelters, and other places where maybe there's people that are underserved. And we monetize those for just a suggested donation, but then those proceeds go to help pay for groceries for those in need. And we do holiday programs, backpacks with school supplies. We have a foot care program with medical treatments that nurses do. So a whole host of things, but today I think we're going to talk mostly about food.
Great. Well, and can you tell me about how many people do you serve each year or each month?
Well, last year, and this is including the holidays, we served about 89,000 people with some measure of groceries. So it was a lot of people. We have 23 host site places that we actually do a distribution of some form. They're host site locations. And but every month, on average, we're probably serving 4,500 people or more. So it's a lot of families, a lot of people. There's a lot of need out there, and we're just privileged to be a part of doing something to make a difference.
So that is so significant, that many people per month. Have you seen that number stay the same or decrease or increase now with the COVID and the needs that are out there?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's sadly, based on calls and inquiries, it's definitely increased. We've probably increased by 300% just the inquiries we're getting. We're getting calls and emails and different forms too. It used to be just people going, where's our food shelf? How can I take advantage of it? Now it's people that their kids are at home, they're homeschooling, and they're trying to figure out how to pay for more groceries. They do get some help through the schools, but sometimes they can't access those because of timing and their schedule at work. So they still have to provide for those in need that are their own family members. And then there's under or unemployed people. And these are some of the real more desperate ones because they don't know the rules of the road around food shelves. They've never had to participate before. So now they're just trying to navigate this. And so we're trying to make a difference there. And we're trying to educate and help them to learn the rules of the road a little bit as well. And then there's probably a third group that is really concerning, and that's the elderly or those that are maybe unable to get out of their apartments. It's not safe for them. They're more vulnerable to this virus, and they don't have transportation. And so we're trying to figure out how can we bring food to them so that their needs are met as well.
That's an excellent point. And a lot of people don't realize just not only people who were on the brink before, but now, like you said, there are so many more people with need who aren't used to asking for help. So how are you meeting these needs, and how has COVID changed your delivery of services?
Well, it's certainly changed it. First of all, of course, the shelter in place makes it difficult for everyone. And so we're continuing to serve groceries. That's the one thing I want to mention is we are essential services, but we have to do it a little bit differently. First of all, we got to be safe. We got to make sure that our volunteers, our staff are safe themselves, but they also don't add to the transference of this illness in some way. So we got to make sure we're wearing gloves, we're wearing masks, we're using proper distancing practices, sanitizer. We want to make sure that the volunteers that join us are healthy or they haven't been exposed. There's a lot of things we got to think through just on the volunteer staffing level. Then, of course, we don't want people to congregate together in large groups, so we're doing a lot of curbside delivery. That's where we actually box the food up and we just do a quick intake through the window of the car without any physical contact. We put the groceries in their backseat of their trunk, so there's no touch, and then we can just pre-box those items and put those in the car. And then another way we do it is we actually pre-box and we deliver groceries by a truck. So we're actually going to places where maybe we formerly had schools that were open and now those schools are closed. So we go into the parking lot and we congregate there, and we just kind of host a distribution. Thankfully, it's a little warmer these days, so we can kind of do it outside. But we're innovating as we go, looking for places that are landing points where we can host food programs and host a simple distribution. And so we're able to expand our services because of that and actually do more right now.
Well, I was actually wondering about that. You said, you typically serve 4,500 people a month. How many do you anticipate serving now?
Well, based on the early, service things that we've done, and it's still kind of growing, and we're still trying to figure this out. But it's looking like it's going to exceed about 7,000 or more people every month. And I don't know for how long. This is the thing: is this just a 1 or 2 month wonder, or is this going to continue on? And I don't think anybody knows. We're all trying to figure that out. I talk to a lot of people, visit with a lot of people that try to kind of get an idea what they're thinking, and we're all in the same boat, so to speak, trying to figure out how long will this last. And so we're trying to do what we can, and to sustain that 7,000 plus people every month, it's going to take a large effort from everybody. But we are pivoting to do that for the immediate, and then we'll kind of take that long-term future with a more of a planned approach as we are able to do so.
Well, it's amazing that you're able to almost double your services with very little warning. This all happened so quickly. It left many of us kind of reeling. And what I know with working with you is that you have been very nimble in your approach and very quick to react. And I just want to applaud you for that, for being able to take everything you were doing and sort of flip it on its head and do this new model. Can you talk a little bit about, is this increased need just individuals and families, or have you seen an increased response from other organizations or churches or things like that reaching out to you?
Yeah, great question. A lot of schools have reached out, actually. So it is individuals, of course, but schools their staff are going, can we do something to get a host site here on a regular basis? So we've had that. Certainly some churches, a lot of immigrant groups, those that are dealing with multicultural distribution, where they're not used to participating in regular food shelves. They really like produce. And so we have to figure out how to not just do canned goods, but to do fresh items. And we are doing that, but we have to do that even better. And so there's a number of groups reaching out. We're in touch with different groups like farmers markets to see, are there some things that we can do to collaborate, and just in all the different areas where we can procure food and then bring it to those in need and try to make sure it's food that people of that particular culture or demographic will actually use and want. We don't want to give them something that is that they won't really appreciate or eat. It's not enough just to give people food, just enough in quantity. We want to also give them quality and actually give them the dignity that they need and deserve. So we're really working hard at that, and we're not perfect, but we're making headway in this, and it's very exciting to be a part of making a difference.
Well, that's one of the things I love most about Good in the Hood. It's just that the people that you serve are treated with dignity and respect, and just those culturally responsive things that you do to go the extra mile to help people feel welcome. And I know you don't only just provide food, but you also, in your mission, it's important to provide kindness and hope. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, food is certainly a stabilizing thing, and it makes a big difference. But I've seen people, what I say it this way is they are hungry and they don't have the emotional energy to lift the spoon to their mouth anymore. It's because they've lost this purpose of life, and they no longer want to even go forward. They're just so forlorn, so down and depressed, or whatever it is they're going through, overwhelmed, that they feel hopeless. And so they stop caring. They just exist rather than live. So with Good in the Hood, we believe intentional kindness not only helps by bringing food and stabilizing the situation, it actually helps the emotional person, the emotional needs of a person. It helps them move forward. It helps everyone to feel like a someone. That's such an important thing, that we feel like we can make a difference in the lives of another by being just a person that reaches out and says, you matter, you count, you're important to me enough that I'm going to not only feed or provide food, I'm going to reach out with a smile, I'm going to reach out with a handshake, a hug. Of course, we can't do much hugging these days, but we can still smile. And so we're trying to do all of that, because that's what gives people the sense that they can still go forward, gives them the energy to try and to continue making their best effort.
Thank you for sharing that. So I guess one of my last questions here is, obviously with this huge influx of additional need and all of the new services and people that you're providing, how are you doing this, and what are some of the challenges right now?
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. And, certainly how we're doing this is we're just putting our best foot forward. We made a decision, and we said we're prioritizing the fact that we have a mission, and our mission is to make a difference for people. It's to influence them, it's to inspire them, it's to impact them and move them forward. So we made that decision, and are trusting both. I'm a person of faith. I trust God, and I trust those that are generous in the community to get behind us and to join us in this effort. And I'm so proud, I have to say, it really touches my heart with how many people have stepped up and said, count us in. How many groups and organizations are saying, what can we do? And it's so exciting to have that kind of, just that multiple effect of people coming together and creating I know contagious is not a good word, but we're creating contagious momentum of kindness in the community. That's exciting. But we still need more help. We need people I'm going to say this, we need people to pray for us. I believe prayer makes a difference. If you don't, that's okay, but I do, and I'm asking for people to pray. For those who don't believe, or those even who do, we need you to get behind us as volunteers and to join us whenever you can in places of need where we're serving and packing boxes and distributing. And then, of course, we need the finances. We need people to join us as partners. Right now we have an April food share, and we get a partial match for every dollar that comes in. We get a partial match through the end of April, and that's a big deal to us. So that'll stretch the dollar even further. It's not a 1-to-1, but it's a partial match, but it makes a big difference. We have a 10-for-1 program. For as little as $10 a month, a recurring donation, that's only $120 a year. We can feed 4 people every month for the cost of groceries for 1 week. That's an amazing thing. So $10 feeds 4 people for 1 week, and we need people to get on board with that. And we just need people to leverage their dollars in ways that can help us buy more groceries to feed more people to do the most good. And they can do so by just going to our website, goodinthehood.org. That's a wonderful way to help join us as partners to make a difference. We would love to have you join us. And I know there's so many out there that already do, but we could even use one more. If one more can reach one more, it'll make a big difference to help us feed the future.
Excellent. Well, Sean, thank you so much for all that you're doing for the community. And thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. And I just praise you and thank you for everything that you're doing. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, and have a wonderful day too. God bless. Bye-bye.